welcome back to another Wheel Wednesday, where I spin this wheel of prompts from you, the listener, right there, you, and then I draw those prompts. Today's prompt was from Altanouve on YouTube, which was cool black Titan with cool black Titan with black obsidian polished armor and a feathery wings, and add a sword if that's okay. I did indeed add the sword. And I should say, with specifically the obsidian armor, it kind of just ended up being black armor and not really obsidian-y, because I couldn't figure out how to create armor that looked like actual obsidian, because the only way I can think to make obsidian is doing the broken off shardness of it, like, because it's a glass. And typically you can't actually just form obsidian into a shape. And I did try, and I tried to add in some purpley bits, but with the lighting I chose, like, a strong purple didn't really make sense, so it kind of ended up being a pinky black color. So the obsidian is that's just trust me on that one. And like I won't get to it for a long time in this video, but trust me on that. And then for the cool part of the prompt, that's an opinion. I can't force that. What else? Oh yeah, I tried a completely different style. Well, very over-exaggerated, but I tried to do a different style and way of drawing today. With, like, right now I'm doing these black outlines, which I leave in, so at the end of the final thing they are in there for, well, a little bit. I end up blending them in a bit here and there, so they do just kind of disappear, but some of them are still visible. And then I do it all in black and white first, and then I use a gradient map to change its color, and then I draw over the color changed image with, you know, obviously more colors. And it's mostly because literally just today, when I woke up, I watched a video done by a professional on how to do certain colors, where you just, instead of actually choosing, say, blue, if your background is like an orange, yellow, or red, you just slightly hue shift towards blue, and then you desaturate the color way down to nearly completely desaturated. So like you just make it a gray that is towards blue, and then it looks blue when you put it down. So I wanted to try doing that, and it actually worked really well. If you can believe it, coming from like a professional that's probably been painting and drawing for like as I'm trying to think of a good estimate, 20 plus years or something. I'm not sure. I obviously don't know how long they were actually in the industry, but much longer than me in my 0 years in the industry. So anyway, black and white, the gradient map. That's also been something that I've been just trying out recently, as you could probably tell from the black and white image of yesterday, and the gradient map one from the 2 days prior to that. Well, I should say the 2 gradient map ones prior to that. Okay, I'm a fool. I forgot about planetary reach. That one was not gradient map, so I am a liar. But Gradiate and Angler were both gradient maps to color ones, or black and white to gradient map colors. You get what I mean. Now back to this. I did use a reference for the armor, of course, because I am not too good at armor yet. I'd like to get better because it is really cool, but currently, still working on it. And the wings, I used a reference for the lighting because I had this idea of the wings blocking out the sun and then light shining through them. So I got a reference for that. And yep. And to show that this is a Titan, so obviously very large, I tried to, you know, obviously with the perspective being like the size of their shoe and looking up at them. So yep, that's that. Also for 90% of this, maybe even more than that, the sword is messed up like horribly, and I don't notice it until like the very end, and I don't know how that slipped past me for so long, but I'm glad I caught it, because right now it is not a straight sword. It is curving up weirdly and then disappearing. Anyway, here's gradient map. I, you know, am still learning, so I was messing around with it a lot. Just trying to get something I thought looked good, and eventually I just end up sticking with this yellow and pinky red color scheme, and then I paint over it, increasing the bright saturated bits. I add some white, and then I add the grays that I was talking about before, where in the ground I move it slightly towards green to get grass in those mountains or hills, whatever, and then I move it towards blue in the wings and for parts of the armor. And the sword. Forgot about the sword. And I'm not sure how well it will show in video, but I did try to add texture to the armor to make it more obsidian-esque, such as carved lines in it, or how if you were to shatter a piece of obsidian off, sometimes it can leave a bunch of tiny little grooves, which is, I tried to implement that. Probably not the easiest thing to see in the video, but I tried. And probably you might not even be able to see that in the community post, because YouTube image compression is very cool. It's just my favorite. I can't think of anything else really to talk about this. Yeah, I'm not sure. I end up adding color dodge and overlay light streaks to this, and then at the end I remove them to mess with the sword, because I realized that the sword is horribly messed up. And then I end the video and forgot to turn them back on, but I remembered to turn them back on when saving the image. So, yep. It's not an error. Well, I mean, in the video it is, but I fixed it. Here's those light streaks I was talking about. Well, okay, never mind. It was the start of them. I'm a big liar. This is the green slash just yellow that is slightly towards green, that is also desaturated in the mountain that looks like green. Because human eyes are interesting. That's the best reason I got for that. Now there's the light rays I was talking about. And obviously just even more brightening up, and with the overlay I also put some blue in the bottom left, just because that is closer to the ground, and I thought, I'll just make it a little cooler. Cooler as in the color, like towards blue and not, you get it. Here's where I found out that the sword's really messed up and go to fix it. And that's the final thing that I do. So thank you for listening and watching. Bye 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 bye. have a good time of day that you are watching this at. Goodbye. Bye bye.